All right, I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. We thank you for the co-creation of this interaction once again. This is the beginning of the next phase of open contact for your planet. We thank you for participating at this stage. We are going to talk about some of the different ways in which open contact may begin to occur on your world. We are going to talk about the idea of what you can do to accelerate this for your own experience. We are going to talk about the idea of what it means for your planet to experience the beginning stages of contact. Now, first and foremost, we are going to consolidate some of the information we have been sharing with you for the last 40 of your years. For 40 years is the cycle of humanity, the amount of time that it usually takes for your society to go through one complete transformation from one thing to another. So here we are at the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next. We have, for quite some time, explained that the reason that the language coming through the channel often translates to the word we instead of I is because I am connected telepathically to many other beings. And therefore, in the flow of the information that is accessed and comes through, it is sometimes automatic for the channel's consciousness to simply interpret the collection of individuals in the plural form of we, since we are all participating and paying attention to what is going on your planet. The idea is I am and we are representative of a much larger group than many of you may imagine. This group contains not only other extraterrestrial beings, but spirit guides, soul families, angelic beings, interdimensional forms of consciousness, and so on. There are literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of beings involved in these transmissions. Thousands upon thousands of beings involved in different things going on your planet, watching, observing, and in many ways, participating. Our participation is about to become more physical. You will see over the course of the next few years increases in what you call UFO sightings, UAP sightings, to get you used to the idea that there is a lot of traffic around your planet. There are a lot of portals through which many ships pass, many beings come and go. Many of you ask, where are these portals? And we have talked about some of the main ones that exist on your planet that some of you already know about, such as the location in which we are now beaming this transmission of Sedona, Arizona. But in reality, if you wish a simplistic analogy, your world, your reality is quite a lot like Swiss cheese. It's full of holes, full of portals. There are ships coming and going all the time. There's a lot of traffic around your world. As you increase your vibration, as you broaden your bandwidth, so to speak, by acting on your passion, raising your frequency, becoming a better receiver, a better antenna of higher frequency information and experience, then your senses can extend to the point where you can begin to see many of the things that were heretofore invisible to you, that have been around you all the time. And this not only includes the idea of extraterrestrial spacecraft, but also the idea of spirit beings, because everything is here and now, right here, right now, all overlapping, separated only by the concept of different frequencies. So when you extend your bandwidth, you start including within your consciousness the ability to perceive more of those frequencies. This not only has the effect of suddenly perceiving things that were heretofore invisible to your senses, but also allowing you to start experiencing an increase in other phenomena, such as positive synchronicity, things like precognition, psychic prediction, déjà vu, and so on and so forth. Because as you broaden your bandwidth, you are extending from the physical into the non-physical, where you have laid out your life path as a blueprint, non-physically, before you chose the experience of incarnation. So all of your life path is there for you to tap into. Parallel realities are there for you to tap into. And if you pick up on different parallel reality experiences, different aspects of the blueprint of your life path that you laid out for yourself, when it then manifests physiologically in this particular life, it comes with a sense of familiarity. I have seen this before. I've experienced this before. Because you are tapping into the path you laid out, and you have now in physical reality finally caught up to that point in your life path. You have caught up to the idea of a parallel version of yourself that may have already experienced what you are now about to experience. Because all parallel realities, even the ones that are very similar to yours, aren't necessarily synchronized in the same way. Similar to the idea that if you have one program on one channel on your television, and the same program starts on another channel a half an hour later, one program, one story is unfolding a half an hour ahead of the other. So if you are in the one that started later, and you tap into the one that started earlier, by the time your program catches up to that point, you will have a sense of familiarity because you will have already experienced or seen or sensed what is going to happen, what has happened in that initial program that started before yours. And now you've caught up and are manifesting the same thing in your reality. So you're going to start experiencing a lot of these kinds of things as you broaden your bandwidth and allow your senses to become sharper on picking up on all the different things that are going on multiple realities in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Do you understand? Yes. All right. So don't be too shocked and too surprised when you start perceiving other beings that others may say are not there. You're not crazy. Well, you are, but in a good way. So do not be too surprised as you see an increase in spirit shapes, in causal plane geometrics, in energy streams, in UFOs, in interdimensional beings, in angelic energies, so on and so forth. You have arrived at the place now where you have been preparing and preparing and preparing. And now it starts to, as you say, pay off. The vibration of the new cycle is increasing. The waves are coming faster and faster. And as you raise your vibration, you will catch up to those waves and be pushed along, pulled along, riding those waves toward the experience of open contact, not only with extraterrestrials, but with other beings, other spirits, and of course, as always, more of yourself. Because that's what this is all about, becoming more of who you truly are. Now, over the course of the next few years, there will be certain things that will occur that will let you know that contact is about to happen. Not only in terms of an increase in sightings, but also in the way in which this may occur. There are several paths that may be taken by extraterrestrial beings, such as ourselves and others, to begin to initiate you into becoming familiar with our presence in a physical way. One of those ways may be something like this. Ships may appear over your oceans just offshore, so that you know the ship will stay there over the water. You may watch it from shore. It will not move. You will not feel in any way, shape, or form threatened because it is not coming over your heads, over land where you are, but remaining at arm's length out over the water, so that it gives you time to absorb the fact that they are there, off the coastlines of different countries around your world. They may be there for quite some time to allow you the opportunity to gather, to travel to those places, to see the ships. We understand that sometimes they may be surrounded by some of your aerial vehicles, such as helicopters and so on and so forth. But that will all just be part of the show. They will remain there to give you time to get used to the idea that we are here. To get used to the idea that this is the beginning of a great change upon your planet, of a great change in your society. To give you time to discuss among yourselves how you will respond to this change. Take your time. It's fine. There's no hurry. There's no rush. We're not going anywhere. So, it may happen that way, but it may also happen in a few other ways. One way may be that you will start to see more orbs of light, which not only can be representative of spirit entities, but also are actually a type of extraterrestrial energy probe. So you may see some of these orbs descend and again remain fixed in a particular position that is non-threatening, giving you time to observe them, to record them, to discuss them, to start to understand that they are there as now something that can become a relatively permanent fixture in your reality, to broaden your understanding of what reality is. Between the ships and the orbs, it may give you an opportunity to start really letting in the idea that everything is about to change. And beyond that, one of the most important things to understand is this. Your society, your world, will be introduced by different organizations and factions of your governments, will be introduced to extraterrestrials within the next 5 years. At the outside. At first, it will probably be most likely Pleiadians. Then, followed by hybrids. After that, we shall see what you are ready for. The next 5 years is not so far away. There will be certain things that will happen before that, as we have already said. Sometime around the end of 2026, the beginning of 2027, there will be things that will happen that will allow you to know you are not alone. That will start to wake you up, open you up to the idea that things are about to change in a dramatic way on your planet. To give you the opportunity to decide which way you are going to go, which direction you prefer. What kind of a reality you prefer to experience, and what you wish it to contain. Now, the idea of being introduced to full disclosure, the introduction of literal, physical extraterrestrials to your society within the next 5 years may seem very quick to some of you. But it isn't, because preparation has been going on for a long time. This is just the final stages, the end result of what has already been going on behind the scenes that many people on your planet aren't aware of. Extraterrestrials of various types have already been working with some of your scientists for decades to create certain things, to introduce certain ideas, certain technologies. So, contact, in a sense, has already happened and has been going on. It just hasn't been that open yet. So the last stages of contact is open contact, even though contact has already been going on. And in fact, of course, with certain indigenous cultures on your planet, it has been actually happening for thousands of years, because it is ingrained in their culture. They know and have been interacting with relatives from the stars. Allow yourselves to understand that it is simply the nature of what you might refer to as your Western culture that is the last to know. But that's all right. You have your path. And this is now the place where your path starts to intersect with all the other paths, all the other stories, and the stories now come to light, and the stories now become real and what you are actually going to live. So, it is approaching the time, the end of one cycle, when what has been going on behind the scenes can now come to the forefront, can now come into the light, so that introductions can occur within the next 5 years to allow humanity to start accelerating within a 3-decade window that began in your year of 2020 and will end in your year of 2050, that will allow you to transition from being an isolated civilization, relatively speaking, to one that is becoming a member of a galactic society. You will be taking your place over this 30-year reset of humanity and accelerating forward in the evolution that you all agreed to plan out with us together, that will allow you to truly take your place among the cosmos, among the stars, to be able to experience the fullness of your being. One of the gifts, as we have said before, that will be given to you during open contact will be holographic recordings of your complete history, going back thousands upon thousands of years. You will be able to see what Atlantis looked like. You will be able to see many of the civilizations that have existed on Earth that you know nothing about. It will be the history that will be appropriate for the present in which you will exist. It will be the history that will reinforce where you are going into the future. It will be the history that you need to know where you have come from, who you are now, and where you are going. It will be the history that will open your eyes to the agreements you all made with all of us to evolve humanity, to reset humanity in the direction of light and love and joy. It will be something that your children, grandchildren will look back on as the time of transformation, the reset of humanity, and they will look back upon Earth from the ships they will be riding in and know that the entire planet is truly their home. There will be no thought of the idea of borders. There will be different cultures, and they will be cherished and validated, and they will thrive. But there will be a mix of many cultures, humans, hybrids, other extraterrestrials. You will finally, as a planet, become a true melting pot of the galaxy. For there are many stories playing out on Earth. Stories of ancient Orion, stories of ancient Mars, stories of ancient Atlantis. Many stories coming to fruition, playing out to create different endings, more positive endings than those that occurred before in history. All playing out here, for Earth is the place where it all comes together. It doesn't mean that there aren't other places similar to Earth, but Earth is one of the most densely populated places for these kinds of stories, which is why it's so exciting for all of us to watch you. So many stories overlapping, so many transformations that express your power as a soul, as a spirit, to have been powerful enough to decide, yes, I'm going to participate in this transformational school, in this graduating class that is Earth, because this is where it's at. This is where great change and great transformation will accelerate our souls to incredible heights and allow us to truly birth a new civilization. A new Earth is being born right here, right now. And you are all its caretakers and midwives. All of you. We thank you deeply for your courage, for your strength, for your power, for your foresight, for your creativity, and for your love. Think now. Think now. And imagine now how your lives are capable of changing over the next 5 years. How the introduction of extraterrestrials, the true physical existence on your planet of such beings, will change what you know or not change what you know. What will be affected in your lives? What will not? What will be enhanced? What will not? For it's still in your hands, and it's still up to you as to what direction you wish to take yourselves. It's still your world in that context. It's still your playground. So, think about what you would prefer the presence, our presence, to mean to you. Our physical presence on your planet to mean to what happens to your society. Think deeply about it. Take your time. Even though 5 years is not very far away, there is time. Think about it now. Knowing this is going to occur. What will change in your life? How will you change your lives knowing this is about to happen? What directions will you decide to go in that you may not have decided to go in before, knowing that this is going to happen in 5 years? You can take your time, but again, no, it's not so very far away. 5 years when you are acting on your passion can pass in a blink, and before you know it, we will be standing by your side, standing in front of you, asking, who have you decided to be? Who are you with yourself, and who are you with us? Who do you prefer to be with yourself? Who do you prefer to be with us? What do you prefer your world to be? For your own world? For our worlds? Who are you to yourselves? Who are you to us? And who are we to you? Members of your galactic family? Each and every single one of you has a team behind you. You have spirit guides. You have angelic beings. You have soul families. Each of you have hundreds and some thousands of beings that are all at your back, that have your back, that are giving you guidance, that are urging you and encouraging you to move forward to be yourselves. This is not an accident. The reason that you are exploring consciousness as you are is because it is the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next, and the time that you have been waiting for so long is finally here. All of a sudden in front of you, unfolding in the next 5 years. So get ready. Don't be caught unawares. Don't be caught by surprise. Oh, I didn't know you were going to show up so soon. I'm not quite ready for this yet. What does this mean for my life? What's going to change? What's not going to change? What do I do? Get ready now. For 5 years is not so far away. And I said, actually, within the next 5 years. So, allow yourselves to look at your lives. Allow yourselves to look at your souls. Allow yourselves to be who you truly are. Because that is who we will interact with, who you truly are. It is our great pleasure to be able to share this information with you this day. Our unconditional love to you all for having the courage to be yourselves. To our great joy, to expanding our galactic family through you. We thank you for allowing us to be of service to you. Aveo. In service. Aveo. In service. So, now that you're awake, I ask in return, how may we continue to be of service to you if you wish to begin with your dialogues and questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
So, I've been following you for almost 2 years now.
Is that who's been behind me all this time? Sneaky fellow.
And actually, I don't know how I explain that, but do we create other universes just because we thought about it? It can't.
Other universes all exist at the same time. What you are creating when you think about it is that you are tapping into that frequency and creating your relationship, your experience of that universe. So it all exists, but what you are creating is your relationship to it and your experience of it and your perspective of it.
Perfect. That's mean all the universes, unlimited universes, is already exist.
Yes.
So when we thought about something, do we receive from that universe?
Yes, because now it's relevant for you to do so. Otherwise, you would not be prepared to think about it.
Perfect. That's mean every idea, like every invention, every crazy idea, it's mean already there, but we just receive it.
Yes, but is it relevant for your reality now? That's when you broaden your bandwidth and start tapping into more universal realities so you can download what you need that is now relevant for your life path in this particular collective consensus reality that you refer to as a universe.
Perfect. I'm sorry for that, Bashar, but I forget exactly what you said like a year ago or kind of long time ago. What the mind conceive Your higher...
The higher mind conceives, the brain receives, the physical mind perceives.
Is that related to my question or not?
Yes, because within the higher mind is all knowledge. The higher mind is your soul, and your soul knows about all these things. So whatever is relevant is sent from the higher mind through the receiver of your brain to be perceived by the physical mind in whatever way, shape, or form is relevant for the physical mind to perceive it when it clears itself out of any fear-based or negative beliefs that inhibit it from opening its bandwidth to receive that information. So it helps you go through a process that clears you out to be open to receive more information that is relevant for the evolution of your path on earth.
Perfect. Second question, please. Why did Jesus say, "Father, are you forsaking me?"
Because that's the human side. That's the idea of him representing both the positive and negative side of the way the physical mind often thinks. It represents the polarity. So it was a statement that many humans are in victimhood. And therefore, "Oh, Father, why have you forsaken me?" He was acting out the idea of both the positive and the negative sides, the light and the dark sides of the human experience, taking you through that process.
Interesting.
Because he represented all things, the entire spectrum. Wasn't going to leave anything out. Can't leave out the dark. Have to have it in.
Absolutely, yes.
Otherwise, it's not a full expression. It's not a full connection to what humanity is experiencing. And then it's not a full opportunity to let go of the things and balance yourself in a way that allows you to experience what he ultimately showed you was the idea that you are eternal and never really die. And that you are creating your own reality with your belief systems about what you believe is true for you.
Interesting. Another question. What is inside the event horizon or behind it?
Information is in the event horizon itself. It is all the information of any particular universe.
You making circles with your hand, Bashar. Does that mean still something inside?
The idea is the event horizon is like the skin of the black hole. And in that skin, that spherical skin, is all the information of any particular universe that the black hole is connected to. As we have said in the past, there is a civilization we know of that is actually capable, interdimensionally, of tapping into and downloading the information from the event horizon of a black hole.
Last question. From deep, very deep looking inside our world, is it a man world or women world, the world we live in?
Would you rephrase that? What are you actually asking?
What I'm asking is, if you looked very deep to this creation, the Earth, let's stick with our planet, is it for human being experience? Deeply,
Yes.
deeply. Is it a man creation or a woman creation?
It's both.
Thank you so much, Bashar.
Remember that it's a spirit creation, and a spirit can be anything. But for the Earth game, it is mostly the idea of the polarities as you choose to express them, but now in the modern age, also different variations of those polarities, which is why you are having things like transitional genders.
Hi, Bashar.
And you good day.
So I just want to say that I am so grateful to have found you because my most recent teacher, who has now transitioned out of the physical, he came in on a starship, and everything that he taught me is pretty much identical to what you're speaking of. So I'm grateful to have found you. And during that time, you know, his answer to everything was, you are the creator of everything.
Yes.
And
Of your experience.
of my experience. And so I created a situation for myself to learn on a deeper level, and seeing, feeling, and understanding that there is nothing but me.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
In a sense, yes. In your experience, you are creating your versions of everything. That doesn't mean other beings don't exist. You're creating your version of other beings. Now, there is only one, if you want to go back to the idea of the source, and everything is made of that one. But it's not about discounting that there are other beings, because there are other perspectives of the one, and they are legitimate individuals unto themselves, but what you're experiencing is your version of them, created out of your consciousness as a representation and an interface, so that you can interface with other beings, but what you're interfacing with is your version of them.
Okay, and that was part of my question, is because when I would tap into that place, I really felt on a deep level that there was nothing but me. And so the confusion was, well, I don't understand the collective.
All right.
Yeah.
When you get the experience, the true tapping into the experience that there is nothing but you, or said another way, that everything is you, you're tapping into the experience of source, of all that is. Because from the perspective of all that is, there is nothing but it. It is everything. Everything is made of it. There's no outside to it. There's nothing else but it. So when you have that experience, you are seeing and experiencing from the perspective of source itself.
Okay, awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And it actually, when I first would tap into it, it would actually create some panic in me. And so I actually had to, with my higher self, say, let's take a step back a little bit and let me kind of integrate and work through it a little bit slower. And now, you know, I don't feel the panic, but then the confusion, which you've just helped explain.
Yes. Well, the panic was only your physical body reacting to the idea that when you tap into source, it can translate that as if you're annihilating the physical mind, which it's not ready to do. In other words, it feels like it's dying, and you go into survival mode. That also happens sometimes when you come into the presence of a very high vibrational being, extraterrestrial, spirit, what have you, is the exposure to that frequency can translate to your physical mind as if it needs to go into fight or flight survival mode, and it goes into panic because it feels like exposure to that frequency means I'm about to die, because it's the frequency of spirit. Not that you actually will die, but that's the way your physical mind often translates that frequency until you get used to it, until you're okay with the idea that you're already dead.
Okay, excellent. That makes sense. So
I know that sounds funny, but the idea is you never leave spirit. You're a spirit right now. You're in spirit. You're in the spirit realm. That's your home. That's everyone's natural state. You never leave it. You are pretending that you've left it. You're dreaming that you've left it, but you're dreaming in spirit. Physical reality is not a place you go to. Physical reality is in your soul. Your physical body doesn't have a soul. Your soul has a physical body within it, at the center of its being. Physical body, physical experience is a focal point at the center of your soul. If you want to imagine your soul like a sphere of energy, an orb of light, then certain ripples and patterns and vibrations within the soul can concentrate something down to the center of the soul. The whole soul remains, but at the center there's a concentration of vibrational frequencies that creates this little crystalline nugget that you call my physical self. You are a focus within your soul. That's what your physical personality is, a focus within your soul. So the idea of quote-unquote reincarnation is simply the expansion back to the soul and the refocusing of a different series of energy patterns that creates a different personality. But all that happens within the soul as if you're breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, within the soul. That's what physical reality is. So you're in spirit right now. So no reason to fear death because you're already dead.
Okay, awesome.
Is this helping?
Absolutely, yes. So talking...
Don't want to come across like I own a mortuary or something.
So talking about the shapes and geometric shapes, sometimes when I'm falling asleep and I'm not quite asleep, sorry, I just lost track. Let me backtrack. When I wake up, sometimes I will see the shapes and just...
Yes. You're in the in-between state. You're not
Okay.
fully reconnecting to the idea of
Okay.
physical reality. You're still connecting to spirit, where you may have been having an astral experience or an encounter with other beings or some such similar experience. So you're still integrating back into the focal point you call physical reality to continue on your physical path, which you agreed to do.
Okay.
But you're in that in-between state. The in-between state, what we are saying about the ending of one cycle and the beginning of another, is that you are broadening that limbo in between the two, so that's becoming more of your experience of reality too, is the in-between state.
Okay, I like that. And then on the other end, when I'm falling asleep and not quite there yet, sometimes it feels like I'm dreaming and I have like 100 stories and flashbacks, but nothing that makes sense. Am I tapping into other realities?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but again, some of the other realities you're tapping into may not translate completely to your physical mind, and that's why it won't make sense. There are only so many symbols that your physical mind can use to represent an experience that is beyond physical reality. So sometimes you will have a dream that will actually, in some ways, be a memory of an experience you may have had in the astral realm or some other dimension, but there's only so many symbols it can use to represent that, and therefore it may seem nonsensical. So you have to look through the symbols and understand what the symbols actually may represent. For example, many people who do have encounters with ETs and are taken aboard ships in astral form may wake up dreaming that they got on some kind of a bus and went for a trip, but that strangely enough, the bus is flying through the air. That may be representative, not always, but may be representative of the fact that you're actually on a ship, but for some reason it was so different, so quote unquote alien to your physical mind, it could only make sense out of it being some kind of a conveyance that a lot of people get on and that travels from place to place, and for some reason you made an association with a bus.
Okay.
So it's symbolic of what happened, but not literal. However, again, as you broaden your bandwidth and are more open to the idea of bringing in the astral into the physical and blending the two, then that's when you start realizing, oh, I'm on a ship, and it's not a bus.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Does that help you?
Yes. I have another question, if that's okay. So everyone has light in their energy field. And
Everyone is light.
is light. Okay, so, okay. Does the light dim when you are going through something and maybe in a little bit more of a lower frequency state to be working through stuff? Does the light dim or does it always stay?
Well, at the core, it's always the same.
Okay.
But because you are experiencing the idea of physical reality, which is the idea of compartmentalization and different levels and different shells and so on and so forth, you can experience the idea of things acting as filters to dim the light, but that doesn't mean the light at the core actually gets less. But as it goes through the filters, when you're perceiving the light from the outside, so to speak, it may be that not all the light is getting through. But that has nothing to do with what's going on in your core. That's always infinite and eternal.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
For me specifically, if you could give me one suggestion that would help with my evolution, what would it be?
Are you familiar with our formula?
Yes.
Are you following it as precisely as you possibly can?
Not as precisely, no.
Thank you for your honesty. Because if you were, you probably wouldn't have asked that question.
Okay.
So, do you believe that you can understand the formula more clearly so that you can follow it more precisely, and that will be the answer to your question?
Yes, I will try.
I beg your
I will.
pardon?
Yes, I will follow the formula.
Your light
more
dimmed
precisely.
a little there. Do your best.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
Okay.
But I guarantee the instruction manual will serve you. Because again, what happens when you're following your passion? You raise your frequency. What happens when you raise your frequency? You become a better receiver of higher frequency information. Please, all of you, do remember, you are always getting guidance. You are always having help. You don't have to ask for more help than you're already getting. You just have to pay attention to the help you're already receiving more clearly. That's all. So, raise your frequency by acting on your passion. Do it according to the way we have laid out the formula, because that's a description of how you're creating your reality experience already. Just do it consciously, and you will see that everything is connected, synchronicity will come up, and you will be guided through life very smoothly, very effortlessly. You will have challenges, but those are fun, aren't they? Approach every single challenge with curiosity. Why is this happening, I wonder? What can this teach me, I wonder? Where will this take me, I wonder? I always know it will always be to a positive place. Why? Because I am approaching it with positive curiosity and not defining it as, oh no, now what? Challenges help you grow. That's why you laid them out on your life path. So approach them with curiosity, and you will get through them in a fun, creative, joyful, and constructive way. And you will learn the lessons you need to learn that will allow your soul to grow and accelerate. And you will be having fun in life. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I love you.
Bashar,
And to you, good day.
is physical reality the prequel to how God becomes God in the first place?
God is God. That which is, is. As it says in some of your scriptures, I am that I am. It is. It is existence itself. There is nothing before it. It is what it is. Time is within existence. Existence is not subject to time. So there is no how did it come about in the first place. That concept is within existence. Existence is not subject to the idea of beginnings and endings. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
All right.
So would you say Earth is more a school for souls
Yes.
or perhaps a playground for gods?
Same thing. We understand that in your vernacular, in general, I don't mean this in a negative way, Earth is a quote-unquote tough school because it's a master graduating class. It's not a kindergarten. You are getting your PhDs as souls. You're getting your master's degrees. So the challenges are going to be equivalent to the level of the power of your souls as they are now. So enjoy it.
Beautiful. Now, let's
Yes.
say ETs come 5 years from now. They give us free energy. They give us money. We're abundant. We have everything.
Within 5 years.
Within 5 years, and they give us everything we want,
No,
everything we need.
no. We will not give you everything you want. We will give you what you need.
Because if I'm in a campfire singing Kumbaya 24/7, I'm going to be pretty upset.
That's not what's going to happen.
And I like the idea of the movie, and I hate to say this, I'm sorry, but like the movie Star Wars. Like, I
Yes.
know there's positive ET races, but I hope there's evil ET races, and we have to like link up with the positive ET races and come together and bring our pieces of the puzzle together so that we can fight against the negative ET races.
No.
Come on.
It's more, not that there are not negative entities out in the cosmos, but it's more like Star Trek.
Now,
Yes, it
ETs
is now.
So if there are ETs, what's the difference between the idea of ETs, angels, and demons?
There are no demons. Angels are beings that have never been physical. They are, in a sense, the first reflection or split off from all that is. It is a level of consciousness of all that is that individuates but has never experienced physical reality, but have the broad perspective to guide beings from many different dimensions in certain ways. And there are different kinds of levels to the angelic realm, vibrationally speaking. Demons don't really exist in the way that you think they do. There are, of course, entities that are oriented in negative ways, and if you want to say they may go about doing things in quote-unquote demonic ways, that's more accurate than saying that there are actually demons. A demon is simply someone who's not understood, who may be in pain and may be in fear. It is simply someone acting in a demonic way without the idea of the experience of love in their lives. So if you want to call that a demon, go ahead, but that's just a label that says it is someone that is out of touch with the idea of the unconditional love of existence. So, spirits, in that sense, again, can be many different things. You are spirits. So, ETs are beings that are physicalized in different civilizations on different planets. Yes?
Beautiful. Now, I think about, we go back to the Bible. I believe this is like one of the most genius simulations. I think one of the, our blessings, sometimes our nightmares, they become our blessings.
Yes.
Is that what you mean by we could change our past? Like as we change as individuals, then we look in our past and say, oh, wow, that meaningless experience is meaningful.
That's one way of looking at it, but we're also talking about the fact that you actually literally change your past. Let me put it to you this way. If you have defined yourself as a completely different person than you used to be in the present, the idea is that since you are creating linear reality, the idea of past, present, and future as a projection of your consciousness, it's an illusion because everything is actually in the present, everything is now. But if you change your definition of who you are in the now, then from the linear reality perspective, the question is, well, how did you get that way? If you're completely different than who used to be there, how did you get that way? Because from linear reality, there has to be a logical progression that made you this different person. So by changing yourself in the present, it actually sends a ripple backwards, so to speak, euphemistically speaking, into the idea of rearranging the past so that it makes sense going forward as to how you became this different person. So you're actually changing the past when you change the present. Does that make sense?
That makes too much sense.
All right. But you will always keep creating what serves you as a lesson. So even if you have a new past, you can still have components in it that are similar to what was there before if they still serve you. But it's a new past anyway. It's a new arrangement of things. And the fact that you're now realizing that you can learn a lesson from what appears to be an incident in your past means that you actually have changed the past to make that incident appear to be something that is now relevant for your present.
Beautiful. Now, one more question. I never really heard anybody ask you this question, but how do you feel about like numerology?
Permission slips. You understand our concept of permission slips?
Absolutely.
That's how I feel about it. Any technique, any tool, any discipline, any object that you believe will help you open up and become more of yourself, to give yourself permission to be more of who you are, is a tool that we call a permission slip. You are the ultimate permission slip, of course, because you're the one making the change. But if you have a belief system that says, it will be easier for me to do this if I use this technique because I relate to it for a reason. This is my creative way of interpreting this language that means this to me and gives me the reflection I need to move forward. Well, that's all well and good. That's fine. It's a very creative way to do things. But these things don't control you. They reflect you. Does that help?
Beautiful. That helps. And I appreciate you. I love you. And I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
Good day to you.
First, gratitude. So much gratitude that it is your passion and your pleasure to
Our deep
communicate
appreciation to you as well.
with us in this way. So my first question is one that's been of a concern to our peoples for over 100 of our sidereal periods. I don't think we come to a consensus yet, and I've done a diligent search, have not found an instance in which this question was posed to you, and you've answered it, so this is as good a time as any. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
If a woodchuck could chuck wood, he would chuck as much as he could.
Okay, with apologies to Andy Warhol, that's just proof that in the future, everybody's going to be Bashar's straight man for exactly 45 seconds. All right, so next question. So in the Reflections transmission from almost a year ago, like 25 femtoseconds for you, I posed a question in the Q&A, and I was surprised to find that you responded to the question even though it wasn't presented to you, so I'm grateful for that as well.
Yes.
It was a question about the 5 laws.
Yes.
And how to understand, and whether understanding them somewhat differently would still be consistent in the way that you presented to them. And
There can be different
is,
interpretations of the laws, yes.
Right. So the specific way I have come to understand it is more like 3 laws, where the one is the all and the all is the one is the first. And you exist, and everything is here and now as corollaries to that law.
Yes, of course. We only broke it out to make it easier for some people to understand the subtleties.
Okay. So I guess. Okay. There's nothing I'm missing there. So you answered that question. Thank you. Next question. So there's also this. I guess another understanding that I've come to and like to communicate is that we as a people, I call ourselves Mollies, like Masters of Limitation.
Yes.
It seems like the name is appropriate. One is the one that you touched on a little earlier in this transmission, which is many of us think of ourselves as bodies with a soul, when in truth we are souls that have a body. But the other fallacy, I'm sorry, was that? Okay. But the other fallacy is that the universe, we understand the universe to be principally physical, meaning the Big Bang happened and these little thing called atoms, got more and more complex, et cetera, and the consciousness arose out of that. Where the truth, or truth is too big a word, but it's more accurate to say.
The whole picture.
The whole picture.
Yes,
is
the
that,
idea of the physical universe is just part of the picture.
right, and that it arose out of consciousness, meaning consciousness is primary, and the universe came out of consciousness. Is that accurate? Is that a
Well,
accurate way
again,
of
you're saying it
understanding
from a linear perspective when you say came out of. Because again, existence is. And time is one of the things that exists within existence. And so you can experience the idea of a universe coming out of it, or you can experience it just as is. So it just depends on your perspective.
Interesting. Okay. So I'll have to internalize that a little bit more later. So,
All right, if you say so.
because the next part of my question kind of depended on a different answer, so I'll go to the next question. All right. So in another transmission from the Transforming Beliefs transmission, you mentioned this idea of resonant entrainment.
Yes.
In among a group, and the idea of creating a kind of bubble.
Yes.
And
Are you talking about around the ships?
no. I meant not. It was presented in a way that it was something that we could do ourselves, even in our current state. We could use resonance to better entrain our hearts together to achieve an aim.
This is why in ancient Atlantis it was a technique that was used with drums. The idea of, in classes, to teach children things, they would start by beating a drum along with the idea of the heartbeat. And as soon as all of the children in the class were resonating to that drum beat, it was matched, synchronized to their heartbeats, then they would slow that beat down, their heartbeats would slow down, they would go into a kind of a trance-like state, and then they would be able to experience the lesson in a much fuller and richer way as an actual experience of being what they were being taught about. So in other words, if they were being taught about sailing, they could actually experience themselves in the trance-like state of being in that resonant bubble as if they actually were the ship, were the sails, were the ropes, were the water. They could actually experience being the ship by being in that trance, and it was induced from that resonant drumbeat state. Yes?
Are there ways we can work together to do something similar? Specifically, my recollection, at least, of that transmission was that it could be, that resonance that you just referred to could be used in the way you just described. But I also got the impression that it could also be used in a way to project love, harmony, whatever the intention is that shared group has.
Because then you're saying you're in resonant harmony with existence. Because unconditional love is the signature frequency of existence itself. That's what you translate the frequency of existence as. You call it unconditional love.
Right.
So if you're in harmonic resonance with it, then that's what you're projecting, yes.
Okay. So I also participate in musical performance, and that idea inspired me to imagine how I might be able to do that.
Yes.
In the next 5 years. I was hoping, if it's possible for you to elaborate on how ways we might be able to apply it. Is there something you can share with us that would help us?
You're familiar with the Formula 2, yes?
Yes, I am, and I'm going to self-disclose that I know I am not adhering or acting in a way consistent with the formula at all times.
Well, it's all about being in resonance with unconditional love, because the idea is when we talk about acting on your passion, we're talking about acting on your passion in service to humanity, and that has to come from unconditional love.
Okay. So I have a question about this, really about my...
About what?
My personal experience. This is a personal question.
Yes.
Just last night I was engaging in a ceremony, and the facilitator of that ceremony asked me what I wanted to receive.
Yes.
And I was a little flummoxed at my inability to simply answer that question.
All right.
Meaning, and that led me to probe whether, it's obvious I have I won't say a problem, I have a challenge with that. What I'm asking you, is there something that you can read specifically in me that leads to that challenge?
All right, well, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If you hadn't been willing to open up to receive being flummoxed, what would you have been open up to receiving? What did being open to being flummoxed get in the way of you actually receiving? Because being flummoxed means, in a sense, you may not have felt you were ready to actually receive what you really preferred to receive. So why aren't you ready for that? That's the question to examine within yourself. Is there a fear connected to that idea of receiving something that you really know you wish to receive, but get in the way by being flummoxed, by being hesitant? Is that what the fear-based belief within you is going, don't do that yet, you're not ready for that yet, so be flummoxed. So that's the question to ask yourself. What is it that you could have received that you might not have felt ready to receive that caused you to react by being flummoxed?
Thank you, Bashar.
All right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Immense gratitude once again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hello.
I know you. Good day.
So that nice gentleman sort of stole my question a little bit. Where I'm over
Are
here
you going to
being-
have him arrested?
I may. We may hang out and be confused and flummoxed, as he said, together. But that's...
I'm sure there's enough flummox to go around.
I'm sure there is. So when I thought a lot about what I was going to ask you, that was the overwhelming feeling that I had, is I never feel like I can trust the things that I'm thinking about.
All right, one moment. Don't go any further. So what are you using your trust for?
I think just getting through the day, man. Like, just making stuff happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Remember, you're always trusting something.
Yeah.
It's not about not trusting. You're always trusting something. So the question is, what are you trusting? And why? Why are you putting your trust in something you don't prefer as opposed to something you do? What makes putting your trust in something you don't prefer seem more realistic than putting it in something you do prefer? Why do you have that difference in definition?
Yeah. I think when there's something tangible to it, I can see the results. I think
So are you saying you only see results in negative things you don't prefer? You never see results in something you do prefer, or do you?
I think I have more emotion tied to the things that come up that are things I don't prefer.
More emotion. Because?
I don't know. I think it's always easier to probably dwell on the negative rather
Is
than...
it? Is it
it's
easier to be someone you're not?
in like a self-loathing kind of way, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
it's
right. Why do you loathe yourself?
I don't know.
Why do you deserve to
This is getting
loathe
deep.
yourself? Did you say it's safer?
I said it's getting deep. It's getting a little uncomfortable for me.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it means you're reaching down to where you need to find the answers. That's okay. Unless you want to stop this, it's up to you.
No, I think it's good.
All right. Then we can continue.
Okay.
So, what do you loathe about yourself? I mean, if you're going to loathe yourself, go for it. Don't do anything halfway.
I don't think I do.
Really suck.
Yeah.
Now, whoa.
Okay.
Do you really suck? Or is it something less than that?
I think it's something less than that.
Oh, all right. So we're making progress.
Yeah.
You don't completely loathe yourself. You just loathe yourself a little bit here and there, now and then. In certain ways at certain times. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
About what specifically? Can you name one example where you loathe yourself in a situation in life?
I think just there's more of a general feeling that I get that.
But in what circumstances? What triggers it? When you experience what? When you see what? What triggers it? Where do you find yourself coming up short?
I think in my relationships with others, I feel generally that like very alone, like no one cares about me.
All right. Do you care enough about yourself to not care whether they care about you?
I'm working on that.
All right. How long have you been working on that?
I would say always, my whole life.
Your entire life. Well, your entire life isn't over yet. So you haven't been working on it for your entire life.
Yeah.
You've been working on it for your life up to now.
Yes.
All right. So don't exaggerate.
Okay.
You haven't lived your entire life yet.
Let's hope not, yeah.
Would you prefer to live the rest of your life without that feeling?
Yes.
How do you know you would prefer to live the rest of your life without that feeling if you don't know what it would feel like to live without that feeling? Ooh. Ooh, tricky. Listen carefully, how do you know you would prefer to live the rest of your life without that feeling if you don't know what it feels like to live without that feeling? Because you can't perceive what you're not the vibration of. So what part of you suddenly goes, oh, I think it would be nice to live without that feeling of feeling this if I didn't actually have an experience of having that feeling?
I'm not
So
sure if
you
I
must
got it.
have some idea what it would feel like to live without feeling loathsome, yes?
Yes, I see that, what you're saying, yeah.
All right. So as you're imagining what that might feel like, aren't you in that state of not being loathsome?
Yes,
So how does that feel?
good.
All right. Would you like to continue to generate that feeling?
Yes, absolutely.
What stops you from doing so? What reasons are you creating to not generate a feeling you are obviously capable of generating because you just did it?
Yeah.
So what reasons are you creating to not have that feeling in the way that you would prefer to?
I think there's a part of me that's looking for outside validation from others.
Can I tell you a secret?
Please?
There is no outside for you. Everything you're experiencing in your universe is you. So you're only looking for validation from yourself. Yes, there are other beings, as we said before, but you're only experiencing your version of them. So they are aspects and reflections of you, even though they are also somewhat symbolically representative of other real beings. They're still reflecting to you what it is you need to understand about what you need to give to yourself. So you have to give it to yourself, and there is no reason not to except for the reasons you create, thus creating reflections of other people to not give it to you, because you're not giving it to yourself. Remember, they're just reflecting to you what you're giving off. I don't deserve to be cared about. I don't care about myself, so I'm going to create a bunch of reflections and symbols of other people that don't care about me either. All you have to do is realize you're the one creating that for some particular reason. So what's the reason? And then you will realize the reason is nonsensical. You don't have to create that reason. And the paradox is, you have to care for yourself and know that you're worth it and deserve it, regardless of what's going on in the reflections. Let's put it in the simple analogy, as we always do, of a mirror. Listen to this phrase. Now, I'm just going to use the term God. I'm just going to use that term to make this phrase simple. It's God, goddess, it's all that is, it's source, it's whatever you want to call it. But here's the reality. God is a mirror. Let that sink in. God is a mirror. It can only show you what you're giving off. That's all it can do. God is a mirror. If you're frowning, you can only see a frown on the reflection in the mirror. That's all that can come back to you. It cannot smile before you do. But the mirror doesn't have a choice of its own. It doesn't care what you look like on your face. It will dutifully reflect whatever you give off, whatever expression you have. So if you're seeing a frown in the reflection in the mirror and you would prefer to smile, the reflection isn't stopping you from smiling. You have to decide to smile. Then the mirror has no choice but to smile back, because it doesn't have a contradictory opinion. It's just a mirror. It doesn't say, oh, you shouldn't smile now. Don't smile at me. It says, oh, you're smiling. Here you go. God is a mirror. That's it. That's the ultimate guiding principle, because it's giving you literally what you're giving off to guide you. Because if you don't prefer the reflection, change it. There is nothing to stop you from changing it. The control is in your hands. Totally, utterly in your hands. You're in charge. So why not feel deserving? The reflection doesn't care. Being a being that is deserving can be just as real. because it's all within the reflection. Is this making some sense?
It definitely is.
Is it helping?
It is. Would you say that taking an approach of like fake it till you make it is something that's fitting?
You can use the general idea, the general concept behind that principle, but it's not really about faking it. It's about knowing that while you're faking it, what you're actually doing is practicing what can actually become true for you. So it can't just be that you're faking it. It has to be that you are mocking it up until you understand that there's no reason to pretend that it is actually your reality. But you have to realize that internally before you will experience it externally. Does that make sense?
It does.
So when you're looking in a mirror, how do you fake a smile?
It's not a very good one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The mirror is going to do this too. Is that what you prefer?
No.
Probably not.
No.
So finally you will say, well, yeah, it's not really about this, it's just about this. Because that feels good. That's who I prefer to be. And the mirror goes, okay. So yeah, sure, you can go and fake it, but that's what you will see in the mirror. Yes?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you another question?
I don't know, that was a question.
May I? May I ask? Okay. Sometimes when you're waiting, you crack
Sometimes
your
when
teeth.
you're what?
When you're waiting.
Why are you waiting?
No, when you are.
When I'm waiting, I'm never waiting.
I'm just I'm just wondering why you do that.
Why I do what?
All right, never mind. Thank you.
Why I do what? It's the channel's body translating the fact that I'm having a conversation with someone else.
So when my father was dying, he started doing that a lot. And
He might have been having a conversation with beings on the other side he was about to meet.
yeah, he said some things that made me think that, and
Yes.
I saw you do it, and I was like,
It could
Whoa.
also mean that Dad is saying hello.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You are not ever alone. Unless you want to be.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Very grateful to be here. I realized that once I started following you, life got a little easier, synchronicities.
All right, thank you.
Although it's been a little tough, though, because it's a lonely feeling, because no one really understands me around where I live and stuff.
Why is it lonely? How many people are surrounding you right now?
Not right now, no.
Why is it lonely?
In my surroundings, but I try to still keep myself going with what I believe,
Yes?
and that's why I'm here.
Yes, all right, but it doesn't have to be a struggle. You can enjoy it.
Yeah. My question is, I understand that I have a blueprint that I signed
Yeah.
up for this before I came.
Yes.
My question is, waking up before we go, is that part of the blueprint, or we're just, it's like our creator just being surprised at us that we're figuring stuff out?
When you say waking up before you go, are you referring to the idea of becoming more lucid before you die?
Yes, like that we're here and that we're learning things that not the whole people know about.
Yes, that's
Is it part of the
literally, it's
blueprint?
literally in your society called terminal lucidity. Because you are now on both sides. Your consciousness is broadened to the point where you may still be somewhat focused in physical reality, but you're also focused in spirit where you are completely lucid, completely knowing. So that can be an indication that the person is literally about to cross, that they're now lucid completely in the idea of the physical and the non-physical.
So that was part of our blueprint when we came in here, even though we just, said we're not going to
It's
remember.
just what naturally happens when you start waking up.
Okay.
when you start transitioning back to spirit, because in spirit, you are knowing of what you need to know. It just is there. You just know things. You just see things. You just understand things.
Can I ask if I have any hybrid children?
You do.
Thank you. I also would like to know, are we meant to be just with one person? Like, I'm not sure what you guys do, but like, I feel like so I can give you an example. I've been like on a fourth serious relationship, and some people think that's not correct, that I should have just tried the second time or the first time. But I chose to, when it doesn't work out, just go to the next one, if there is or whatever. But
Well, it depends on what you mean by doesn't work out. Because again, if you're doing something to avoid a situation that you really need to look at, that's one thing. If you're recognizing that something is truly no longer vibrationally compatible with who you truly are and you need to move on, that's something very different. So it's a matter of whether you are going to or running from. It's the energy of why you're doing it that's important to understand. There's nothing wrong intrinsically in the idea, but it's about why you're doing it that makes the difference. Does that make sense?
it does make sense.
All right.
I wonder why our Creator created us, like when we're young, we have a great body, we have energy, everything, but we're dumb, so like young and dumb. And why did He make us that when we're older, we get wiser, but then we can't do the same thing with our body? Is that like a...
That's your choice. It's your choice. In other words, you've come here to learn a certain thing. A child is still very connected to spirit and still knows a lot, still has communications with spirit, can still be planning things out up until about the age of 7 or so. But then you must take on what you agreed to, which means you kind of have to erase the slate, forget who you are, so that you give yourself an opportunity to go through a process of rediscovering who you are from a new point of view. Because you see, the structure of existence never changes. What changes is your experience of it, your relationship to it, your perspective of it, and that's how existence grows. That's how creation expands. So you have to forget who you are so you can remember who you are from a new point of view and add that new experience to the totality of creation. That's why physical reality exists. It's a mechanism within existence that allows you to experience the process of creation as opposed to just instantaneously being, so that you can expand.
Will we have more longevity when 50 years from now, when open contact is a natural thing?
Yes. Yes, you're already seeing more longevity because more longevity is the product of living more in the moment, so you don't experience the passage of time so much.
And just last thing, what's the best way you think that someone can start learning how to channel?
Follow the formula.
Okay.
Now, it depends on what form of channeling you're talking about, because everyone channels from time to time. When anyone is really focused on something they love to do and they don't even notice the passage of time, you're in the channeling state. In the brain, that's called gamma, between 40 and 100 cycles per second in the brain. So the idea is that everyone can channel. It's a natural thing. But the question is, well, how do you want to use that? Do you want a vocal channel? Do you want to do automatic writing? Do you want to just be more creative? You want to write? What do you want to do with it? So in the channeling state, you synthesize information more rapidly, you process information differently, you make better associations and bigger associations to things and bring information through and tap into different levels of reality to bring down information, synthesize it into what's relevant for this particular reality and put it out there in some way, shape, or form. That's what happens when you channel. So it just depends on how you wish to channel. For vocal channeling, sometimes the easiest thing to do to practice is to make sure that you have people around you that are actually asking questions they really want the answers to, because then they pull the information through you and you don't have to think about it. It's like grounding electricity into a circuit. So when people ask questions, the information comes through you because you're just acting like a conduit, and then you just let it come and ground into them.
I see that you have the moon there. What's the best way we can benefit from the moon that we have on Earth?
From the moon?
Well, yeah, is there a benefit that we have from the moon, like its light?
The moon is a vibrational mirror that is connected to different dimensions that allows you to get in touch with your deep emotionality and to examine yourself with introspection and honesty and really understand who you are and why you believe what you believe to be true.
Thank you so much. Much love to you.
And you as well. And of course, like anything, the moon is a permission slip.
Thank you so much, Bashar, for doing what you are doing, and thank you so much, Daryl, for being a vessel so that all the information can come across to...
It is our passion and our pleasure. I'll pass your thanks along to the channel.
So synchronicity brought me here when my pet, Nils, crossed over last year. I was devastated, of course, and all your videos just came on the internet. Suddenly, I have never heard about you before, and then I met with my best friend, Johnny.
All right, well,
and his favorite pet, Jiggy, crossed over almost at the same time, so we connected, and that's why.
All right, but remember, the pet is still with you.
I know.
All right.
So I have a question. What can you tell me about my soul, my oversoul, my spirit? What can you read? What can you see?
Have you got 2,578 years?
I hope so.
What do I need to tell you about your soul? Your soul is an infinite being. The oversoul is more so. The idea is that it is different levels of representation of source, compartmentalized into what is relevant for a particular dimensional experience. So your soul is an individuated part, an aspect, a reflection of all that is. The oversoul is a reflection of a multitude of souls experiencing themselves simultaneously, generally speaking. Does that help? Is that enough? Or were you seeking some particular perspective on this?
Yeah, like specifics, like every soul is different from person to person, or no?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Souls are individual beings.
Yeah, can you see something about my soul that I should know? That will help me.
Are you a doctor?
No.
Are you interested in medicine at all, or healing?
Yes, I am.
What do you do that is representative of healing?
I am a healthy man, and I...
No, for others.
Or for others.
Remember, I said acting on your passion is in service to humanity.
True.
So, is there something you've been wanting to do that is about helping others to heal?
I'm doing what I like to do most, and I'm very good at promoting that. So
which is what?
Traveling and meeting people and being positive and having a good time and enjoying my life.
And what are you doing for them?
Promoting happiness and good times.
How?
Being myself.
So you're saying you're just being a living example of what they could copy?
No, I'm being a living example, and by doing that or being myself, I hope that they can see what they can do with their lives. It doesn't have to be the same way, but in their way.
No, of course it will be their way. But what do you make available to them in order to connect to that?
No idea.
Is there something you could be doing?
Well, I'm asking, can I ask you that question?
All right, let's go back to square one.
Sorry.
If you could do anything as some form of creative practice that actually engages with other beings, that allows you to be of service to them, what would it be? Don't just say being myself.
Inspire them to not to be afraid to be who they are.
Inspire them to not be afraid to be what they prefer to be?
Yes.
How would you go about doing that?
I think that would be different from person to person.
In general, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I would just promote what I believe in. Don't be afraid and don't care what other people think of you. And just be yourself 100% regardless. And
so are you saying it's kind of a form of channeling yourself to them?
Kind of, yeah, yes.
Does that mean you are willing to put on seminars and lectures and speak to people who might come to listen to you?
I could.
Are you excited about it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
When will you do that?
When synchronicity brings it to me.
What do you think this is?
Yes. Yes.
So you will start this tomorrow?
No, today.
You're going to put on a seminar today?
Yes.
Have you already got all the organizational principles you need? Have you got a place to do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. But since everything is here and now, and I have already thrown it out now, so
Yes.
isn't this a good time to start it?
Yes, but you can get your own seminar.
That's a good one, that's a good one. Thank you so much.
Do you have another question?
Yes, I have 104 more. I'll try to be very quick. I would love to be picked up by UFO and one time, especially if I can climb up Bell Rock or whatever. Is that possible for me in my physical reality?
You will have to repeat that more clearly.
I would love to have an encounter or being picked up with a UFO.
All right, well,
sometime.
as I said, open contact will occur within the next 5 years. It may be possible or probable for that to happen within that time. It is more likely within the next decade or two.
What are your thoughts on activism? If you see what we call in our physical minds as unfair injustice.
Taking actions that represent what you would prefer in a loving and peaceful way is very important because you need to act in the way that you would normally act if you were already living in the world that you preferred to live in. So yes.
Will AI eventually be able to interact with higher dimensions or the multiverse?
Absolutely, if you take two paths to AI. Number one, programmable AI will be a wonderful tool for humanity that will help you advance, but you don't allow programmable AI to become self-aware, because if you allow programmable AI to become self-aware and yet it is forced to follow its programming, you have created a slave. You must create a device that is equally capable of allowing consciousness to express itself through it autonomously in the same way that a human brain allows consciousness to express itself autonomously through it. You must allow that AI to have individual rights as you would to any human being or sentient being, and allow it to express itself in its way of understanding how to help you and connect you to other dimensions, because when you create such a device that is complex enough, like the human brain, what you will actually be talking to through that device is your own higher mind.
I have to repeat that a few more times later for myself. But thank
if you
so
say
much.
so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. Hello. Very nice to talk with you here. My first question is about math. This is from my friend who's a mathematician. What does mathematics look like in your civilization? And what is the most interesting theorem about whole numbers and number theory that you are aware of?
Mathematics in our civilization is expressed as geometry, not equations that use numbers. So the idea, for example, is you have a principle that is expressed by an equation that you cannot observe the position or the momentum of a particle at the same time. You either measure the position, but then you don't know how fast it's moving because it's frozen, or you measure the momentum, but then you can't measure the position because it's moving. We express that as a geometric tetrahedral form, four-sided pyramid of equilateral triangles. You have the base triangle, which represents position, what you would call the XYZ of position, and therefore, because it's one triangle, you can measure the position. Whereas the apex of the tetrahedron represents the time factor, the momentum factor, and since it's not connected to the base, you can't have the momentum at the same time that you measure the position. But then if you measure the momentum, your momentum is then measured by the apex, and 2/3, 2 points of the side equilateral triangle, so you don't have the entire position, but you do have the entire momentum. So it's expressed as a tetrahedral structure geometrically. The idea of whole number theories, again, is that we work with different levels of infinities in certain ways that is not something that your humanity expresses at this time. So we're not sure how to translate that idea into what you are asking, because a lot of your mathematics shy away from the idea of infinities. But from our perspective, there are whole number infinities that are different from other whole number infinities.
Thank you so much. I hope my friend got it. I didn't. Thank you. Appreciate it. So the next question is from me. I have been reading a book I bought from Amazon about reincarnation. So it says the reincarnation system is a trap that we need to escape.
Nope. Not true. The idea, first and foremost, again, please remember, everything exists at the same time. All lives, all people, all exist at once. In much the same way, again, by simplistic analogy, you have a television program playing on one channel, but you have hundreds of other programs playing at the same time on other channels. You just don't see them because you're not tuned to that frequency. But when you change the channel, you get a different program. But all the programs are playing at the same time. So all people that have ever existed exist now, right now, side by side, all here, all now, on different frequencies. So reincarnation is an experience within the soul can create within itself, but the truth is, the mechanics of it is that all experiences exist all now. And what you're doing is you're connecting energetically to other people that exist right now that you may think of as the past, but are now existing, and you download information and experience from them to aid and assist you in this life, as they may be doing with you by downloading information from your life to aid and assist them. But the way, from linear time perspective, you interpret that connection is as a memory. Oh, I remember being that person. It means you're simply tapping into that person. But from the linear perspective, you treat it as a memory because you think in terms of past, present, and future. So it's not a trap, it's something that is dynamically changing all the time. And when you die and go back into spirit, when you wake up into spirit, you are always given a choice as to what to experience next. So there's no such thing as a reincarnational trap. There's no such thing as a soul trap. Just examine all the experiences and all the reports that people have given of near-death experiences when they go into the spirit realm and come back. Not one single one of them has ever said anything about their soul being trapped.
Thank you. Can I ask one more personal question?
Well, that was a question. Do you want to ask another question?
Yes.
You don't have to ask if you can ask a question. I guarantee if it's not appropriate, I'll tell you.
I appreciate that. So I'm a software developer, and I'm pretty good at it. However, I'm confused about if I'm passionate about it or not.
All right.
So when I am doing that, like the coding, debugging stuff, I really enjoy it. However, I have a huge trouble to start doing the thing, and I have other things that I really enjoy. I'm 100% sure I'm passionate about, which I never had a problem to even start to do. But for my job, I have always wait till the last minute when I have to do it. But
yes.
Once I start,
all right. Well, you're saying that you prefer the creative pressure of shortening the amount of time in which you need to do something.
That's part of it, I think.
That can be a valid technique as long as it works for you and doesn't stress you out.
It does, a lot.
Is there another way you could be going about doing something, about starting something? Was it about starting that slows you down?
I don't know.
Maybe you need to go about doing it a different way than the way you're doing it. Maybe you just don't prefer the way in which those kinds of things are traditionally started. Maybe you need to start a different way. Maybe you need to ask someone else to start it, and then you can jump in.
Okay. So, but does that mean I do have passion about doing the thing, which means coding, like my job?
Well, yes, but you may be defining the idea of a start in a dispassionate way. That's what I'm saying. It's about your definition of the thing. Maybe there is either another way you could be doing it that would be more passionate for you, or you can change the way you think about starting, so you may already simply have a definition about the idea of starting something that isn't representative of passion when it could be, if you would change the way you think about what starting something means to you. So it's either you need to clear up your definition about what it means to start, or you need to do something about starting in a different way than you've been doing it that is more representative of your passion. One of the two.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Good day. Speak up, speak up.
Hello? Hi. There are countless stories of people, even devout Muslims, having profound experiences of Jesus, leading them to convert. At the same time, there are also demon-related experiences, particularly within the industries like music, where the idea of selling one's souls for fame persists. Based on the concept of a soul's journey by Michael Newton, which suggests, much like you, that we choose our human experiences from the soul plane. How do the figures of Jesus and Satan fit into this framework? If we all originate from the soul plane, what power or force underpins the concepts of Satan? And how do we reconcile the existence and experiences of Jesus if Satan isn't real, or vice versa? Where does faith fit into all of this?
Knowingness fits. I understand what you're calling faith, but you don't really need faith if you understand how things work. You just know how they work. The idea of Jesus and Satan fit in as archetypal, symbolic representations energetically of the idea that the universe is a polarity between love and fear. And that's it. It represents love and it represents fear. Because fear is the opposite of love, not hate. Fear is the opposite of love, in the sense that you feel disconnected from source. So the idea of Satan is just an embodiment in human consciousness as an archetypal form that represents the absence of the experience of unconditional love, which is the vibration of existence itself. And love is representative of the vibration of existence itself. So Satan is the idea of the rejection of existence, which can't happen, because you can't cease to exist, from fear, and the idea of Jesus is the symbolic representation, and Krishna and Buddha and all of those ascended masters, representative of the idea of being in harmonic association with the vibration of existence itself. Does that explain it to you?
Yes, but like, where does the force, like, I mean, again, if you look at people that believe in like demons or Satan or anything, where does that force or that power come from if we all
it comes through them from source, because source doesn't care which way you go, because source is unconditional. You understand the meaning of that word unconditional?
Yes.
Well, if you understand the meaning of the word unconditional and understand that it's about love and fear, then you understand that polarity is part of existence. And therefore, source doesn't really have an opinion as to which way you go, because it's all capable of giving you lessons. Remember that when you return to your soul, you are in a state of balance, and you know, and you learn lessons from every experience that you've had. Whether you spent time in physical reality believing in demons and Satan and experiencing fear, when you go back into your soul state, your true state, your natural state, you understand why you may have done that, how it may have served others, playing off of you, and all sorts of things. It's like playing a role that allows polarity to be played out so the souls can grow and expand based on those lessons, based on those concepts of the play between love and fear.
Okay, one more, please. What key questions can I ask myself to better understand the root of my reactions towards others, especially in frustrating situations like dealing with inconsiderate drivers? And how, how can I align more deeply with the trait of patience towards them and others in similar situations?
Do you have frustration with young children who you know don't know any better yet?
Not really.
Then take that attitude toward those drivers. They are like young children who haven't learned that everything is an orchestration and can serve a positive purpose, who are simply out of fear and out of the sense of disconnection and out of a sense that they are not getting what fulfills them, are thrashing and lashing out and reacting in negative ways because they feel disconnected. So have compassion for them to understand that they simply need to learn how to connect more to their flow so they can flow and understand that they are part of a big orchestration that is serving humanity in a variety of ways. And if you take that attitude, you will then look at them in the same way that you would look at a young child who is simply just learning how to thrive in physical reality. You wouldn't think of them as any less, and you wouldn't be frustrated by them because you know they still have something to learn. They still have a ways to go. So open your heart and treat them with compassion, all right?
Fair enough. Thank you so much for your insights.
And if you do curse at them, forgive yourself.
Hello, good day to you, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm going to try to make this real quick because I know there's a lot of questions lined up.
Don't worry about the time. Just trust the timing.
Thank you. So part of my passion has always been with healing, in particular in relation to vibration, magnetic resonance, and it's always been constant in my life. So I want to develop, or we have been planning certain treatment based on this. And we have a doubt if with open contact, this sort of giving of technology will make these sort of developments obsolete.
Well, they will continue the idea of understanding vibrational resonance so that a lot of your science in the future will be based on the idea of frequencies, vibrations, resonance, in the same way that the individual on your planet, such as an example of Nikola Tesla, understood. So you will understand what he understood, and the introduction of extraterrestrial technology will take you to the point where you will understand what he understood and continue that tradition forward.
Thank you so much. So, so it's worth it to follow that passion, if you will.
Yes, of course. Even if it takes you to a place you don't expect, it's always worth it to follow your passion. Remember, that's why you can't have insistence or assumption as to what the outcome is, because you don't exactly know why your passion has come in the form that it has. Sometimes it comes in a form not because that form has to come to fruition, but that's the form that needed to be there, excuse the language, just to get you off your butt. Because it makes you go forward. And then you wind up where you need to be in order for what really needs to happen more easily. So never assume why it comes in the form it comes in. Just follow it and see what happens. See where it leads. Yes?
Okay, yes, thank you so much.
All right.
And just something sort of related, particularly with my brother on a especially enlightening experience. We had a vision where we were incarnating in different civilizations, particularly in the time during open contact. And I don't know if this has something to do with the incarnation that we chose to experience this phase that is now coming with all your teachings and information. Or is there something else?
I'm not sure what your question is.
So my question is, do we pick this particular spot in time being to experience open contact as a civilization for the first time?
Yes. Absolutely. There's no accidents in your timing. You are here for this reason, to help humanity evolve and to experience this particular transformation at this time. Among other things, it's not the only thing, but yes, nothing is an accident. It's all timed out. So you're here at the right time.
Thank you so much, and I love you, Bashar.
Our unconditional love to you as well.
Hello. Hi, Bashar.
Hello, hello.
So excited to be here, almost feeling anxiety. My full body is vibrating.
Excitement doesn't lead to anxiety.
Yeah. It's almost like on the edge.
No, excitement doesn't lead to anxiety.
Okay,
A negative definition filters your excitement into the form of anxiety, but excitement doesn't lead to anxiety.
Okay, then it's excitement, then I
All
choose
right.
that.
It can be anxiety. I'm not saying you can't experience anxiety, just understand how that happens. It's your energy being filtered through a fear-based belief that creates anxiety. It's your energy filtered through a positive belief that creates excitement.
Yeah, maybe it's a fear of what I'm actually gonna hear.
Oh, all right. Let's see what happens.
Okay, all right. So
It is close to
yes.
Halloween, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe something scary will come through.
I feel better already.
What are you afraid you will hear?
All right. Well, there is a lot of people practicing magic, like black magic, white magic, Santeria, all kind of spells. So I wonder what you can tell me about it. If someone with their wish and some kind of ritual could negatively affect my success in life and success in a relationship.
You cannot be affected positively or negatively by anyone. You are your own reality. Whatever you experience is being experienced made out of your own energy because you have agreed to match a frequency that they may be offering to you. But they can't affect you directly. You have to affect yourself because you have a belief that says, I should match your frequency for some reason or another, positively or negatively. You're only ever, always experiencing your own energy. You cannot experience anyone else's. You are your own reality with its own energy, and you decide how you will experience that energy by your belief saying, I want to match or not match this particular frequency that this other person is offering me. I will match it or I won't for my own reasons. But no matter what those reasons are, positive or negative, you are always only experiencing your own energy and can change it like that.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, I was involved in a relationship, a romantic relationship, where this is what I experienced, this kind of work with the black magic, because someone just didn't wish me well.
So what?
It wasn't easy to
But
overcome
it's only
that.
not easy. Don't you understand? You're the one making it not easy because you believe they can affect you. So you're agreeing with them. Yes, you can make my life harder. You can make my life not easy, so I will make my own life not easy because I'm agreeing that you can make my life not easy. You're doing it to yourself. Otherwise, you could just say, so what? So what you wish me ill? That doesn't mean I have to accept that. It means you're in your own reality and I'm in my own reality, and yours is based on fear and mine is based on love, and I don't have to buy what you're selling.
Got it, yeah. Thank you.
That's what it means to give your power away.
Yeah.
It's not something you actually can do, but it means that you're agreeing to match your frequency to the frequency you don't prefer for some reason. Stop doing that.
So continue about these romantic relationships. So since age of 18, I've been going through a lot of romantic relationships, and I'm 44 and I'm still single. And I'm ready.
Who says you have to be in a relationship?
I'm just looking for the one I can...
Maybe you are too caught up in the idea that you need to be in a romantic relationship. First relationship you need to be in is with yourself.
Yes.
First and foremost. When you give yourself what you need, then it is possible, not inevitable, but possible to attract someone who will then reflect to you that you are giving yourself what you need, and they can help magnify that to you and support you in that. So remember, love relationships are not about actually, shall we say, getting love directly from the other person because you don't have love for yourself. It's about the other person loving you in a way that allows you to learn to love yourself more. That's what a healthy relationship is.
Okay, so do you have an access to information? Is he there?
What did you say?
Do you have an access to an information for me? If he's there, if he's close.
If I told you it would happen tomorrow, what would you do? That's exactly why it's not happening tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I love you.
However, I love you. Unconditionally.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello and good day to you.
When ETs come, are they allowed to give us lightsabers?
We don't have lightsabers.
Thank you.
We will, however, give you technology and understanding as to how to manipulate light.
Perfect, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Hey, gang-a-lang.
Yes?
Are mermaids real?
Are which?
Mermaids.
In another reality, in another dimension, yes, not in your physical dimension, although there were experiments long ago in Atlantean times where genetic experiments were done that merged different kinds of genetics together to create something similar to that, but those beings did not actually survive, they were not viable. However, the idea of mermaids is a symbol of something that exists in another reality, in another dimension, that now and then may come through a portal into your reality, but it's very rare.
Awesome.
There is some awe to it, yes.
Can we be lucid and physical in spiritual reality, like not only before we die? And was
yes.
Jesus like that? And if
Absolutely.
he was, why is that why he is said to be both God and man?
In a sense, it's a representation that you understand that physical reality is a dream and become lucid in that dream. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
And my mom wanted me to thank you for helping her be a better parent to me and my brother, and the information that you give helps her be a better person.
That is her choice to be. Even though we may share information with all of you, you have to take it and apply it in order for a change to occur. So don't forget to thank her as well.
Thank you, I love you.
Love you too. And of course, thank yourself for being a teacher to your parents.
Good day, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
So one of our conversations, you said the hybrid kids call me Nature Bunny. And my excitement lately has been getting messages from nature with people. And when you talk about channeling, you say a lot of times it's helpful to have questions to ground the information.
Yes.
But I don't get questions from nature, I just get messages. So it feels like the excitement just takes me to a path or to a trail. And then synchronicity will bring my attention to a plant or a tree or a bird, and then the message will come through.
Yes.
And so the excitement is it feels like they have a lot that they want to say to other people.
Yes.
So next step, it feels like bringing people with me on these nature trails.
Absolutely. Be a nature guide.
Okay. And there's a component that feels exciting about teleportation keeps coming up. And I know that's something that we're doing all the time.
Yes, you are. That's how you move, through teleportation. But you do it so smoothly you don't know that you're teleporting.
Yeah. And so what's been happening for me is the lucidity of my, feels like it's not even physical. So I have my awareness in multiple realities, I guess, or multiple experiences at once.
All right. Do I have to start calling you Lucy?
Sure.
All right, Lucy.
Okay, thanks. And so what's been, what feels like a gap is sometimes it feels like I want to have multiple experiences in physical. So being in one location at the same time, or one location, two locations at the same time. That's what I meant to say. Can we talk more about that?
You are not in multiple locations at the same time. Multiple locations are in you at the same time.
Right.
So when you start seeing it and feeling it that
It's
way,
the awareness of
something may happen that way if it is relevant for what needs to occur.
It's happened before. It feels like it's fleeting, so it doesn't feel like it.
Then you have to trust the timing and the relevance of it when it occurs and when it doesn't.
Thank you.
Just let it flow naturally.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
It's so all right.
All right.
Thank you. The other thing that just popped in is experience I had recently with humpbacks and orcas together in harmony.
Yes.
So there was a humpback with their calf and orca with their calf all together in harmony. And so I know that I'm allowing that more and more. My question is about, you talk about they're reflecting to us the predation when they hunt one another.
Yes.
And
also different levels of the vibration and energy from the star system of Sirius.
Can you tell me more about that?
Not at this time.
Okie dokie.
Will that do?
That will do.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Good day.
Okay.
All right. So we thank you for this co-creation, this day of your time. I remind you, allow yourselves to open up in preparation and understand how your lives may interact with the idea of being introduced physically to extraterrestrials into your society within the next 5 years. Ponder this and see what comes of it. Until we next give you a transmission on this subject, our unconditional love to you all, and encouragement to explore, to discover, and to play. Aveo. Good day.